Hey, comic book collectors, do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code COMICOM15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.
Welcome to the one and only ComiCom podcast, your podcast for comic book news, reviews, and comic community drama, with your hosts, Nemesis Prime and Milton the Manimal. Are you listening?
Yo, everybody, welcome back. Season 4, episode 26. It's an interesting episode because we're actually changing kind of the format here. We're no longer the ComiCom podcast. We're now the Nickelback Appreciation Podcast. I was just telling Justin, I just finished watching the Nickelback documentary on Netflix, and pretty cool. Really enjoyed it. I've, over the years, grown to love Nickelback even more than like when their songs came out and they were younger and they were so cheesy, but like looking back at them now, like just so good, dude. It's so good. It was great documentary. Check it out. And don't DM me talking shit on Nickelback because I will own you. So don't even risk it. I'll go to the mat with it. So, but yeah. Anyway, Justin, what's going on?
I thought we were going to do the presidential debate. I thought we were just going to sit here and like stream that and also kind of talk over.
Ooh, that would have been an interesting one. Like pause as they talk and then we comment on what they're saying. I'll be honest. I'm not a like super political person, but I did want to watch it because, I mean, these two jokers, dude. Like, I just want to see them go at each other and like what drug cocktail Biden's on and how much inappropriate Trump can be. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but
we're missing that because we're going to record our episode. So.
Yeah. What's more important, the destiny and the forward of this country or the ComiCom podcast? Well, I think it's evident on what's more important. So anyway, we'll get right into it. We're going to start off with some community stuff. So before we kind of get into like some community questions, we're going to talk about some ComiCom podcast community stuff. So I'm sure if you guys are following us on the Instagrams, you've noticed, and we've kind of been hinting at it leading up the past, we've known since like March that we were going to do this or so, like March, February, that we are coming out with an exclusive Terrificon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 variant cover, exclusive cover done by our good friend Ken Marion. It's amazing. We've been like holding it in. We've been seeing it. We've had it for like 2 months and it's just been like torture not sharing it with everyone. And then like seeing other people's books drop, right? Like all the turtles, like a lot of you guys don't know the behind the scenes stuff that occurred between me and Justin. Like Justin's like constantly sending me stuff on Instagram where I'm sending him like Lord of the Rings memes constantly on Instagram. That's probably what our feeds are like full of. And every time it's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like cover drop that you send me.
And it's all anything that IDW or, you know, whether it's a retailer or whoever, the artist that I'm following, it's between that Lord of the Rings stuff, and then there's other things that we also drop into each other's DMs. But
inappropriate things.
Inappropriate things. But yeah, so we've been talking about this for months, like you said, and we're super excited to have this. You know, Ken absolutely crushed it on the art. Andrew Dahlhaus did the colors. So with that being said, pre-orders will be up very, very soon. Not when this episode drops, probably within the next few days. So depending on when you're listening to this episode, we'll definitely be we'll try to put it as many places as possible. In our link tree on our Instagrams, we'll put it in the descriptions of these videos over obviously like the next month where you can be able to pre-order it. With the pre-ordering though, they will not be releasing until Terrificon. So if you do decide to pre-order it, you will not get it until at least Terrificon, because the first big push of the variant in hand will be at Terrificon, because we will be set up at Terrificon with our buddy Ken. So we will be in Artist Alley. We have 2 booths. One booth for the podcast will be, selling the variant, kind of plugging our stuff. We also have another little treat thing there that's also going to happen at the show. But then right next to us is our buddy V. Ken Marion. So you can purchase the comic from us, get it signed by him, get its signature series. And then also Jason Aaron will be there, who is writing the book. So you can actually get it double signed. And if you really, really want to, we will graciously sign those copies.
I don't know if I would.
I don't know. I know, right?
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do that.
I don't want to ruin the book for anybody, but
I got a heavy hand and really crappy handwriting, so I'd probably get you, like, if you graded it, it'd probably worth nothing.
I'll Neil Adams that book. I'll just like crimp it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so please, it's been a treacherous battle for the past couple months. Myself, Zach, Ken, who listens, who's a friend of the channel, he knows what's going on. Like it's been crazy just to deal. And and it's cool because we got to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we've never dealt with before. So this is our big first exclusive. So please support us. This means a lot to us. I would love to say, hey, we're gonna sell through every copy, but to be honest, if we could just like break even, I'd be like, it was fun. It's amazing cover. It's an homage cover to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game from Nintendo. Being gamers, like all three of us, we love it. The Turtles thing, the nostalgia, skateboards, everything. It's fun.
Yeah. Even before this book, we talk about Turtles. I've been reading this whole past Turtles run, and it's really cool that it's going to be a continuation of that, and it's the new #1. And obviously, Jason Aaron's a world-class writer, so really excited to kind of do this book. Like Justin said, please support us if you like it. Pick one up; that'd be awesome. Show it to your friends, see if they want one too. We really, obviously, most of you guys know we don't really do anything for making. We're not out here trying to make profit. This isn't our job by any means. It was just kind of a fun thing. And of course, we'd like it to be successful. And then if it is, maybe do some more in the future. So
it was the right book, right? It was definitely.
The right book. We were very picky. We'd been wanting to do this for a while, but we were picky on what we wanted to do.
Listen, we could have chosen some like Vault Comics or Scout or Dynamite because they're really low print runs, but do we stick behind it? And that's a thing for us too. It's like we always stand behind our product. When the two collabs that we've done with Mad Love, the Dr. Aphra and the Ahsoka, we stand by it because I like the artist. I thought the covers came out great. I appreciate everybody who's picked up those in the past, and that's what it is. It's like we really wanted to do a comic that was something that both Zach and I like.
Yeah,
and, we wanted to, of course, get an artist we absolutely love. So
and the timing with like the release in Terrificon, I mean, it was everything kind of the stars aligned, right?
Hell yeah.
With like this choice. So check it out. Check out our Instagram. I'm sure you'll see if you're following us in the ComiCom podcast in the upcoming month or so, which it's crazy to think Terrificon's only like 2 months away. We'll be posting a lot about the book, and like Justin said, keep an eye out for details on pre-orders. They will be coming out shortly. Yes. And lots of options too, so we'll be doing a lot of things, a lot of options on how you can purchase the book and different packages and deals and stuff like that. So anyway, well, moving on. Justin, we have a community question, correct?
Yes, we do. So coming over from Instagram, the one question that we have this week is from our buddy Paperweight Collects. He goes, which comic has been the most disappointing this year that you initially had high hopes for? Well, I am sure once I say this book,
I gotta think.
Once I say this book, everybody actually should know what book I'm going to talk about for the past 6 months. I can't believe, Zach, you really don't know what I'm going to talk about.
I don't know. Should I guess? You
can guess.
Is it Ultimate X-Men?
It's Ultimate X-Men.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good one. But I want to let me look if there's something else. Keep going.
It's simple. We talked about it last year with Ultimate Invasion, and then we talked about it with the combining and the re-evolution of the Ultimate Universe and the titles, and you're like, oh man, cool. You get to get the Ultimate Spider-Man in. You're going to do the X-Men. You're going to do Black Panther. You're going to do, I don't know what's the next. You have the Ultimates, right? Like all these things that you can kind of read from the beginning, and it's a new universe. It's a great jumping on point, and unfortunately, X-Men is an absolute terrible jumping on point for any X-Men fan, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of the quick and easy answer. I don't think anything else that was hyped for that I'm just like, ugh. I think definitely is that is the number one for 2024 without a doubt.
Yeah, that's true. I think maybe, and I totally agree. Like, and as being a massive X guy, like it's just, but I wasn't. I don't think I was super hyped. I wasn't. I didn't buy in on the Ultimate run again as much as everyone did. Like, I mean, I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I
Yeah.
like it and everything, but I wasn't like waiting with bated breath for these books to come out by any means. So maybe it just didn't hit as much. And then also, and this is not trying to be negative here. This is just my taste. I've never been a Peach Momoko fan, so seeing her artwork on it didn't really entice me any, extra amount for it. So, um, so my I don't know, biggest letdown, it's not like necessarily one book, I guess. And like I've complained about it quite a bit, I think lately. I think I've been really let down with the Star Wars stuff lately. Um, the main run, not like the High Republic. The High Republic's been pretty good. I don't feel like High Republic this round. It's definitely better than Phase 2, but it hasn't hit like the appeal of like that first outset of like High Republic, but
Mhm.
I'm still enjoying the story. And that's a whole different topic. Maybe it's because what's his name's not there. The Eye. He's been like
Oh,
absent.
Martian Row.
Yeah, Marching Row. And then I also haven't been like as invested in like the side books. But anyway, that's a whole other rabbit hole. Um no, just the ongoing Marvel, or I mean, Star Wars books like this, like Star Wars, and even Vader's kind of slow. Bounty Hunters I was happy it ended. I was happy after it ended. The miniseries, like the Mace Windu, wasn't great. I didn't even go for Jango Fett. What were some of the other
Thrawn,
ones?
that Thrawn
The Thrawn was not
alliances,
very
that
good.
was the worst. Yeah,
Um,
that had so much potential to be
yeah,
like an amazing book, and it was just like, ugh.
so that's been a letdown, and I'm excited that that's ending. Like in what, August, September,
I
when
think, yeah,
issue
issue 50,
50s.
so like 3 more issues or 2 more
Yeah,
issues at this point. Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see where they go from there, right? Because, like, I mean, this whole run's been, working in between the original trilogy, and now we're at like post Return of the Jedi, which is moderately untouched in the comic book world, besides like maybe like what Poe Dameron's run.
Yeah,
Um,
well, especially in the Marvel stuff, yeah, we
yeah,
have no idea where anything sits, so
yeah, you have some of like the early stuff before the sequel trilogy, like some of Poe's like ongoing was like pre sequel
mhm,
trilogy. Obviously you have the adaptations of the
yeah.
shows that we've had, the Ahsoka, Mando, and Obi-Wan. But it'll be interesting to see what they do post Return of the Jedi. But yeah, I think the Star Wars stuff is a pretty big letdown. And I think they realize it because look what the first run did, what, 75 issues? And they're killing this at 50.
Mhm.
Um, I just don't think it's hitting like it was. So
Yeah, I think they went too thin with too many tie-ins and
too
too
many
much other
events.
stuff that's going on, like, and I guess maybe they're just trying to catch up for, like, that special anniversary issue
Maybe,
to
yeah.
do, like, Return of the Jedi, but yeah, I agree, like, I know when it picks back up, they are talking about that it'll be post Return of the Jedi, so, realistically, those could be books to get because, if you wanna talk
Yeah.
about, like, first appearances and things, like, that's really where they may go with a lot of the
Right.
characters. So it'll be in there.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we've had a lot of first appearances throughout, volume one and volume two, but they've all been set in different times.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I've said it many times. Like, Lando just doesn't cut it for me, man. Like Lando is just not interesting. And I'm worried about because don't we have like before the end, we have there is another series coming out about the Inquisitors, right? Coming up
Yeah,
here
it's just like
soon,
a 4 issue
four
mini.
issue.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll check it out because I like the Inquisitors and I'm curious to see how the story goes. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like that. It's Ahsoka season one, and then the Inquisitor stuff is what
Yeah,
we have, like, other than just the other Star Wars stuff ending. And
yeah.
High Republic is done at 10, so that's only like 2 more issues,
Two
I
more
believe.
issues, yeah.
And then all the stuff that's with Dark Horse too is going to be ending as well. So
The like adventures and the one shots and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, and I meant to text you this or tell you that, and this is really for anybody out there. If you have Spotify Premium, I just found out that they have Audible books on there.
Oh yeah,
And like
I've listened to 'em. Yeah,
I usually used to just go on like Audible, like through like
like
Amazon, and
Amazon's, yeah.
yeah, and I get my credits and stuff. So like I actually just started the Darth Plagueis novel.
Yeah,
And I was going through, and because I have it, I've read it once before, but the Darth Bane stuff and the Darth Revan stuff is also on there. So I was like, "Oh, damn." I was like, "Now I can just kinda listen to this. This is awesome." So I'm happy that it's free because I usually with, like, Audible, I would, like, wait for the see what was free, or I'd
Or the
pay for
credits come
something, or
through.
the credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, definitely like when the High Republic came out, I had the book, and I would also do the Audible just to have both. Like I
Mhm.
kind of follow it along because it's cool to have like the sound effects in the background and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
really gets you engulfed in and that's what I loved about the first series, like, or the first phase. Like there
High
was just
Republic.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, of High Republic. Second one was like, eh. And I'm like, oh, maybe if I do this for the third one right now, maybe I'll get back into it. But
Yeah, audiobooks are always kind of hit or miss with me. Like I like to I like an audiobook if I'm doing a reread of something, but it's not very
Mhm.
often that I don't like to read a book for the first time audiobook wise because I don't feel like I retain it. And then like when I'm doing audio, I'm thinking about something else, I'm doing something else, like as opposed to reading, I'm there, I'm looking at the words and they're getting drilled into my head. So a lot
Okay.
of times I don't audiobook something unless I've read it before. And then like if I road trip, it's audiobooks of like a reread or something, but
Yeah.
never anything new typically. But that's just me.
All right.
So cool. Thanks, Paperweight. That
Thanks,
was a good
Paperweight.
question. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, moving on, we're gonna get right into the comics because we didn't really talk. We had Mitch Halleck on last week. Check that episode out as well. Awesome interview with Mitch Halleck, the showrunner for Terrificon. So check that out. A lot of fun. Really awesome dude. So many stories. I mean, we could have just kept going with all of his stories and like the experiences he's had. But so check that episode out if you haven't already from last week. But we're gonna go ahead and get into books from last week and this week. We'll do our reads. We'll talk Blood Hunt from the past 2 weeks. And yeah, and then we'll move into some articles. So you want to start us off, Justin? I guess let's do our reads first, then we'll do Blood Hunt.
Yeah. So hot garbage of the week.
Ooh,
And
we're
this is
starting out fire, dude. Here we go.
dude,
Just
I'm
getting
sure
out
you're gonna
throwing
agree with this.
punches.
Yeah. We're going hot garbage. And again, we've said this before. This is not a reflection of maybe the series or the writer. It's just the issue, right?
Just the
There
issue.
can be a
Okay.
bad
Yeah, yeah.
issue,
It could
which
be a bad
will
issue. Yeah.
absolutely be hot garbage. If you read Something is Killing the Children this week,
Yeah, I did.
it is by far the worst issue of all of this Slaughterverse, whether it's House of Slaughter, the Books of Slaughter, Something's Killing Children. There is nothing in this issue. There's not a monster that shows up. Erica doesn't fight anybody. It's these two little girls that find her because we're in this like
Yeah.
parting ways or traveling times, whatever the name of the story
Yeah.
arc is. They
Road
find
stories or
road
something like
stories.
that.
Yeah, these two little girls. They find her in their treehouse, and she kind of looks like she's sleeping or like hurt. And they take her mask, they take her phone, and one of the dragons calls her up, and it's just so stupid. Like the her little
Yeah.
octopod little stuffed animal starts talking to the girls, and realistically, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
I was half expecting like the girl, because Erica's like, "Oh, stay out of the woods at night. It's bad." I was half expecting like the monster to come barging through the tree house, or like she goes and fights it. Nope. She literally just by the end of the issue, she just says to her little Octobot, "You better shut your mouth next time, or you're gonna get it
yeah.
for opening your mouth and telling girls about this." Like,
It was a complete filler
oh,
issue.
filler.
Yeah, there was just no point of it. I mean, I felt like that in general. I mean, I've said it a bunch of times. I don't feel like there's any I don't know where we're going with Something is Killing the Children. It seems like there's no path, and then even worse now with these road stories, it just feels like it's buying time. Like Tynion's got other things going on. I know he's got other shit he's writing, right? And
Yeah.
I think he's just kind of stalling right now because he's busy with other stuff.
This was like hitting a brick wall
Yeah.
without a doubt. Like there was nothing around this one.
Dude,
Like I
House of
liked the
Slaughter's
first two.
better, right? Like House of
Yeah,
Slaughter
but
right now, the storyline is better.
I like the first two this story arc. I enjoyed it. She has it's different times, she's meeting with different characters, she's fighting monsters. This was just like a plain like I'd rather watch paint dry on the wall. Like I'm like, "Oh my god. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool." Yeah, it was an awful book. So, but out of that, let's talk about we got Venomverse Reborn was out last week. Cool issue. It's two stories. You had Null kind of drags the Venom from the Spider-Man video game into the 616 during the King in Black story arc, right? And he kind of basically tells him, he's like, "Yo, kneel to me," because he's looking for all the Venoms. Uh, Venom Harry Osborn kind of refuses, and Nolan like wants to kill him, but he can't because he's afraid of like what might happen, like in this time space continuum of like the Venoms.
Mhm.
So then he kind of just goes back, but Noel tells him that he goes something like, "Oh, you'll never remember this. Like you're gonna go through this portal, and you won't remember any of this." So that's like one of the stories. But then the second story is really good. Did you read this yet? The
The
Venomverse or no?
I'm not gonna read
Okay.
Venom first.
So the second one is like a horror story. So
Okay.
it's basically
It's an anthology issue, right? Like multiple
yeah.
stories? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be like multiple way they always are like
Yeah.
Edge of Spider-Verses and stuff like that. But this one's cool. Like so it's like a horror story that has the symbiote and Hawkeye, Black Widow, they get they have to go and they're trying to find Cap. They end up finding Cap, he's dead, and it's kind of like they're trying to find the other Avengers. They find Tony, and Tony's just like hanging in his armor, and then like they open up the armor and it just like oozes out like
Hmm.
skulls and bones, like is and they're like just trying to find out like what's happening with this. And then they're like, oh, or maybe it's Bruce, maybe it's Thor. So then they blame Thor. They go to find Thor. Thor's dead, and then they find out that same thing, like it's like the symbiote, and it's kind of it passes through all the Avengers. And initially it went to Cap, and then the symbiote was looking for something that was more dark, so it
Mhm.
ended up finding Natasha, and Natasha was the one that kind of killed them all. So
Hmm.
it was pretty brutal. Like for a Venom story,
Yeah.
it was really awesome to read. So
That's cool.
Venom verse Reborn. Other books, the ending of this kind of sets up, we're not really going to talk about too much, but the Absolute Power, I made the mistake of reading Absolute Power Ground Zeroes, and shout out to, of course, our buddy V. Ken Marion, who had a little backup story in there, which
Yeah.
was cool. But the thing was, I read that issue and I didn't finish the House of Brainiac. So with Action Comics 1066 and Superman 15 or 16, it was like the last issue. So that 6-part story arc is done. It's probably one of the best Brainiac stories that I've read since Jeff Johns's run in like the mid 800s, I think it was for Brainiac.
Mhm.
Like it was just so cool. Like the Brainiac in that time was also based on the comic. They did the movie Brainiac with like Supergirl and Superman, but like this one is just like so good. Like the whole Brainiac family fighting the Superman family, so you get all the super kids and Superboy and Supergirl, and then like you get all the different versions of Brainiac are there. You get this Queen Brainiac, which is really awesome. But then it also, and I completely forgot about this, but then it does set up something at the very end. It teases something that was actually shown last year in the Doomsday special that came out last year, where it had Supergirl and Martian Manhunter went to hell and are
Okay.
fighting in hell with Doomsday. And I completely forgot about that from last year. So that's going to be coming this fall. So basically, after Absolute Power, we're going to be seeing the return of Doomsday, and I'm just like, oh shit. So,
Cool.
but yeah, it was a good story arc. Like I said, if you're a Brainiac fan, it's very interesting. And then that's the problem is like a lot of people that are going to read Absolute Power are not. If you haven't read both Batman and I guess the House of Brainiac, the things in like Absolute Power really are going to be completely like, huh? But what's actually cool about the Absolute Power Ground Zeroes is it actually gives you like a
Yeah.
timeline, like explaining like what Amanda Waller did, like
Yeah. It's basically all backstory.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
good like with the Beast Awards, with
Mhm.
the Dark Crisis, like everything like that, everything that was everything that she was setting up, which is really cool. Other than that, just some quick things. We have Animal Pound 4 came out, and now I feel like that was on hiatus for a little bit from Tom King. Enjoyed that, again with the animals, you get the rabbits, the cats and the dogs, very political. We were just talking about the political thing to start off
Hmm.
the show. Um, that's really good. That was a really good issue. And I kind of feel like I need to go back because like I said, I feel like it took like 2 months off to get back to number 4, but Destro number 1 came out, good issue.
Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man 6. I enjoyed
Yep.
that.
Awesome.
Kingpin. But another really good one before I get into my pick of the week is the Thanos Infinity Watch. I thought that was really cool. Did you read that?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
I
so
skipped
if
that one.
like the last Thanos story was
Yeah.
where Death kind of created the Death Stone.
That's kind of why I skipped that story.
Okay, yeah. So, now it's like Thanos has the Death Stone and is trying to hunt down now the Infinity Stones. And if you've been reading Marvel over the past, I don't know, 4 years, I think it's been maybe 5 years, the Infinity Stones have taken on the life of a mortal, right? So you have like Star, who has the Reality Stone, you have Quantum, who has the Time Stone, and there's like two or there's like 3 or 4 other ones. I forget their names, but it's setting up this story where Thanos is hunting down these characters to get the stones back. And unfortunately, he's finding out that the Death Stone doesn't really listen to him. So it's an interesting, turn of events when he meets up with Star, who basically really doesn't back down. Like, knowing that who he is, like she's just like, I don't care. Like, I know who you are, and I can change reality. And I always liked her as a character when she got first introduced in Captain Marvel. I thought she was a really cool character, and she had that 5-issue mini. So I'm excited to see where this goes. But pick of the week, and you're going to be very surprised.
Okay.
I'm sure you didn't read it, but I saw it. I thought it was really funny and it was cute. The Giant Size Little Marvels.
Yeah, I did not read that.
Okay, so it's written by Scotty Young, cover by Scotty Young, but the interiors are done by Dax Gordon, who's actually a cartoonist and also very much style of Scotty Young. So it's cute. It's definitely for kids, but I thought it was fun. Like, it was a good, like, non-canon read. So there's like 4 different stories in it. There's one with like Cap, where basically he's just like wants to do everything with all the little characters, and they all literally look like how Scotty Young does his characters on the covers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the first issues with Cap. The second one's kind of like a Project Runway, but with Iron Man. Like, Iron Man wants the superheroes to like create new costumes, and it's called like Project Iron Way or something. The third issue has Rocket and Groot looking for the Death Stone. Like, the Collector asks him to go find the Death Stone, and they're like traveling across the galaxy, can't find it, but there's like a twist in there. The last one's pretty funny. It's called Shame of Thrones, and it's like little Doctor Doom in a big room, and he's got like Apocalypse, Thanos, Magneto's in there, Dormammu, and it's just like they're all like fighting over like who's ruler, but because like each of them are ruler of something, right? Like Victor Von Doom's like the ruler of Latveria, and Magneto's like the ruler of the X-Men and the mutants and stuff like that. So it was a cool issue. I definitely recommend it if you have a kid, son or daughter, if you just want to read something that's not like heavy, right? It's 4 little issue, 4 little minis. So pick of the week, something different, Giant Size Little Marvels from Scotty Young.
Nice.
What about you, man?
So, yeah, I'll kind of go into a few. Like, I really liked the Ultimate Spider-Man book. I thought that was really cool. The power up that Kingpin received in this book was awesome. And like how much he just wrecked Peter and Harry. Like, it was like hard to read, man, hard to watch even. And like, I love the fact that like Harry kind of just was like, "Oh gosh, I didn't see this coming." Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool because I mean, Kingpin. Don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to be like, people get really outraged when you say things, but like, Kingpin's always been depowered, right? He's always been kind of like this bad guy who didn't have powers or anything like that. And so, in a way, you've always kind of been like, well, how does he stand up to these big time heroes and stuff? And it kind of has a power up in this one. So I thought it made more sense. And I love, I've always I love the Netflix Kingpin and everything, but it has always been moderately like unbelievable. Like, why is he so strong? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even in that, like in Hawkeye, when he like throws Kate Bishop with like one arm, it's like, don't get me wrong, Vincent D'Onofrio is not a small guy, but he also isn't like, you don't look at, he ain't the Rock, bro. Like, okay, so I don't know, but yeah, so I really like that. I love the power up he received. And speaking of Ultimate, this week we had Ultimate Black Panther, which I think is really good. I'm really liking this storyline.
This issue is really good. I read it.
It's picked up, right? Like, it definitely turned a corner. I felt like, where like all the characters, like you'd been kind of introducing the characters, but I felt like this issue is where they all kind of came together and the story really like coalesced over these past 2 issues, 4 and 5.
Now, the thing that they introduce in this issue, is that in the regular 616 universe? Like the whole idea with like vibranium,
the life thing, the alternate. Yeah. As far as I know, I'm not, a super knowledgeable Black Panther person, but I don't remember there ever being like an alternate of, or like an opposite of vibranium, and that being like a life thing. So I don't think so. And I don't know, maybe that'll tie into the main story of like this ultimate universe. Maybe it's something, maybe it's a power, maybe it's one of these powers of like that didn't get, maybe it ends up being someone's power. Who knows? I don't know.
Mm.
But I liked it. I like Killmonger. I like the dynamic of Killmonger and Storm being like Wakanda and all that. I think is really cool. Destro, love Destro. Thought it was really awesome. Love the introduction of like the clan Destro, and then like kind of getting some information on who he is. I like it, it's always just so cool to see him and Cobra Commander, like where he's like, dude, I don't take orders from you. Like, we're partners, bro. Like, that's always awesome. And I've also always been a big fan of Zama and Tomax. So I love seeing them at the end of the book kind of coming in. Just everything John, man, the way they are doing these stories is just it's so good, because with Transformers, with Joe, there's so many characters, and so it's hard to reboot these franchises. And how do you include all these characters that everyone loves? Everyone's got a favorite, right? And it's like, how do you? But you can't just be like, hey, here it is, and here's 40 Joes. Like, here they are. It's really great idea how they've been doing this, and then dovetailing off that, the Void Rivals issue that just came out this week. Did you read that one?
I did not. I'm like a little behind, but
awesome. Like
okay.
with Springer, and then like you kind of see the end of that battle, and it's really kind of getting into the lore of Void Rivals. So you start to find out what's going on. I'm going to spoil it a little bit because I want to get you excited about it. So
okay,
this whole world, right? This like the ring that the Angorans and the Zertonians or whatever are on is like, they're hinting at that it is like powered by Energon, or that it's like collecting Energon, and the little like stars on their heads are ports to put Energon into. So they're connected. This whole like two races are connected with Energon. There's a mention of someone you might recognize in this that they're looking for. It was really cool issue. It's definitely kind of bringing it all home and like kind of really tying it all together. So that was good stuff. Trying to think if there's any other like standalone issues that I really liked the past couple weeks.
Did you see, speaking of the Energon universe, they announced the G.I. Joe #1 coming out in November?
Yes. Oh, that's something else I want to tell you. Yeah, that looks great. I saw the cover. I saw like a wraparound cover is what it looked like. Is that the one you saw too? Yeah.
The front's the Joes and the backside is the Cobra, but they have like the Transformers in there as well.
Yeah.
Like, looks like they're beaten down. And I read like a quick article earlier today. They were saying like, there's all new characters coming out, of course, and then like the existing characters, like many familiar faces that you're going to see. So, obviously like Duke and Scarlet will be in there, and whoever else has been. But yeah, the cover's cool. There's some characters that I assume they're new characters because I've never seen. They don't look familiar, but yeah, I'm excited to see that in November when it launches.
Yeah.
So, G.I. Joe #1 in November.
Speaking of Joes.
Yes, I know. I was going to send this to you, but I knew you were going to talk about it.
The Kickstarter ended. Man, this Kickstarter, $50,000 was their goal, and they made $3.7 million, dude.
How much?
$3.7 million. So $3,738,729 is how much they made.
It was the highest
comic
book Kickstarter of all.
Most funded comics Kickstarter ever. And they unlocked all these stretch goals, bro. Getting all these trading cards, doing all this shit, dude. This has been like the past 30 days has been like I don't know what to do. Like when I'm sitting on the train, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go through all my things, Instagram, my emails, blah blah. And I was like, oh, Kickstarter, where are we at? Now I don't have that to look at anymore. So, but yeah, man, that compendium, that's gonna be. I'm really excited for that. And then so one more issue before we get into Blood Hunt and everything. Are you reading? Have you been? I feel like you started it, but I haven't heard if you kept it going. Have you been reading Sacrificers still? Rick Remenders?
No.
Man,
I'm gonna wait till it's like either over or.
And I don't think that's a bad move because there was a couple slow issues. This issue was awesome. Was so awesome. Pigeon is like at it, and he's like powered up, and really really cool issue of Sacrificers. So check that out. If you guys haven't read that, Image Comics, Rick Remender, The Sacrificers issue 9 just came out. Really cool storyline. It's kind of got like a Greek god feel to it with like the
Mm.
pantheon and everything, and then just the themes that are coming out of that are great. So, and then sorry, honorable mention as well. Era of the Apocalypse X-Men, Era of the Apocalypse #2 came out. Awesome continuation. And I kind of messed it up. I think I said last week it was Holocaust, but I forgot that we have it's Genocide is the 616 version of Holocaust who shows up. So um he comes in and just wrecks people in this issue. Like
Yeah.
wrecks them, dude.
Yeah. His introduction in issue 1 was pretty
Yeah.
just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'd forgot the storyline about him actually like coming in, like being the son of famine and apocalypse and I was like, wait, oh, this is Genocide. And then it hit because at that last panel on issue 1, I was just like, oh, it's Holocaust from, Age of Apocalypse, but it's actually the 616 version. So that was cool. And then the last panel with like Archangel and Apocalypse, like that's going to be epic. But anyway, let's get into Blood Hunt. So we've got a couple weeks and like, would you say 7 or 8 issues total?
Yeah, so we got tie-ins from Doctor Strange and Moon Knight, and I know there's one more in there, but I'm missing it. You have the
Yeah.
X-Men Magic one shot. You have
Mhm.
the Union Jack, Wolverine, Black Panther, and Midnight Suns all
And
at number
Dracula.
2s. And oh yeah, and Dracula number 2, and the Blood Hunt number 4 in general. So
Yeah.
yeah, wherever I mean, pick one that you really enjoyed, and
Oh,
one or
man.
two.
I mean, I think the best for me was that I loved the Magic issue. I thought that was
Just read
so
that before.
awesome. Oh, you just read it before we started?
Yeah, like literally like an hour
Yeah.
before we started. Yeah.
Oh man, she just is so badass, and like I loved the way her story was told. And I've just loved Magic. Or it's funny when you look back as like an X-Men person, like New Mutants, and like Magic was not like a big time cool character or whatever. But then when they
No.
brought her back to life, and she's the limbo stuff, and she's just like a badass. And in this issue, man, oh gosh, dude, she's just like tearing fools up.
Yeah.
I was like laughing out loud. I loved it. I thought it was a really, really great issue and a good tie-in as well. Now, I mean, now saying tie-in wise, these don't really have a lot of like impact on the Blood Hunt storyline by any means.
Oh
But
no, not at all. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just like a one and done. Like she goes to what is it, Ilya's castle and fights that
yeah,
the vampire king that's there.
right.
I mean, there was that really one cool panel where there's all like the vampire lords around the table, and she kind of teleports in and right on that guy's head.
Oh yeah, and then the one panel where she chasing the Lord and she tells like her power, she's like, she says, I use gravity. Like she's like, what she says, my portals are static, but
Mhm.
gravity obviously isn't. So she basically is like just using these portals and going up and up and up until she's like building just like momentum. And she's like, there's something else she says, like it tears at my body, but she just like like comes like a bullet to this dude. It's so cool. Um, that was really awesome. But and then I really liked the Midnight Suns. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm just Ghost Rider, dude. Is there visually a more cooler character in comic books or Marvel? Let's just say Marvel. Visually a cooler character than Ghost Rider? I don't know. I don't think there is. And that scene where he like in the hospital when he just in the hallway with his fucking motorcycle. I was just like,
Bro, it was
dude, this is
wild.
so cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely and also I feel like they have to have a good artist. Like that's always the one
Yes.
thing.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
true.
Robbie Rodriguez style was good
Yeah.
for that time, like when it came out with like all new Ghost Rider and stuff like that. But yeah, like
Mhm.
classic Ghost Rider, whether it's Danny Ketch or or Johnny Blaze, like it's
Dude.
pretty badass.
Yeah.
Pretty
So good.
badass. I really like the Blood Hunt too for Dracula. I thought the Dracula tie-in was interesting. Like,
Yeah.
you got Brielle, like she's kind of running, like she ended at Blood Hunt 3, like running out of the sanctum and you know, just away from the Avengers and Dracula because she doesn't want to have to kill her father. She runs into Daredevil.
Mhm.
And they kind of have like a heart to heart, right? They,
Yeah.
he tells her about being a hero, and then Dracula shows up and Dracula fights Daredevil and pretty much gets his ass kicked.
That was awesome. Yeah, and that's a good I mean, Daredevil fighting anyone is awesome, right? And then
Yeah.
Dracula's just like, "Dude, I don't care about you." Like, poor Daredevil's like, "Oh, I'll just go." He just kinda creeps away too, right? He's like, "Okay, see you guys."
Yeah, yeah. But you know what the one thing is like it then she finally says, "All right," she's like, "Listen, I'll go with you." But then at the end, there's kind of like a cliffhanger. Like, is that Blade at the end of I'm sorry I'm spoiling it for anybody, but like, that on that last panel there, she kind of sees somebody, and I feel like it is Blade, but
Hmm. I don't
I don't I
remember.
don't know because it doesn't really say like, oh, it's like, she's like, oh, my father's here or something like that. It's odd because then, and even the way, when we talk about Blood Hunt 4,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
that's at right now too. So
Yeah. And then real quick, not to like get into them, but like you had a few of the other ones, like the Doctor Strange one kind of moved the needle a little bit. Obviously, we have Strange going out to
Latveria.
to Latveria and with Doom. We also saw the team, the Moon Knight team with Wrecker, but that was in wait, that was in
That
4.
was in 4. That
Yeah,
was
okay.
actually in the
Yeah, that
main
was
thing.
in
Yeah,
4.
yeah.
The
I
Vengeance of Moon Knight tie-in wasn't very. I mean, I like the characters because I'm reading it. Like I like Soldier and I like Reese and 8 Ball. But
Yeah, see, like, I'm not familiar with those
yeah,
characters, so for me, it was just kind of like a skim through, like, I'm
right.
really
That
like,
makes
I don't
sense.
know, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to
And
me,
it's
but
been very the thing is like even the Moon Knight, the previous Moon Knight run was strong with vampires, like Reese and Soldier. Like that was one of the first arcs of Moon Knight's previous run was dealing with vampires and stuff. So
mm,
it made sense to include them. But um yeah, so let's get into Blood Hunt 4. Um yeah, it kind of I mean, we knew it, right? We knew what was coming. We knew it wasn't going to be Blade. We find out it's like I don't know how to pronounce it, Varney, um, someone who's tried to possess Blade previously, and like I don't even know how long ago. I'm not up to date on like all the Blade storylines,
I feel like it
but
was the '90s. I think I
yeah,
saw
I
that.
mean Blade hasn't had a lot of like ongoings, so
Yeah.
um, so yeah, this Blade's basically possessed somehow because he's the perfect thing, like
Daywalker.
receptacle. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Daywalker. Yeah, so and then this dude's not even. I mean, honestly, like I'm really enjoying Blood Hunt. This it did kind of disappoint me because I'm like, okay, so what's his goal? Like, just destroy the world? I mean, could it
Yeah.
be like anything more? Like, and it's
He
not
wanted
even
to
like
have the
turn
dark
it into Eternal
dimension,
Night. He just wants to like destroy everything.
but I mean, it is a good, and I listen, hey, I said it, like, the Darkhold and the Strange Academy kids are gonna be important,
Yes,
and
very
look
true.
who shows up in this
Yeah,
issue, like, that's the whole thing, like, yeah, Strange goes to Doctor Doom, and he tells him, "Hey," or Doom's like, "Listen, I need magicians and I need sorcerers," and he's like, "Oh, I can get them," and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I already got them." And who shows up on the next panel is
yeah,
all the Strange Academy kids. But then there's that part where he's like, Doom's like, "Well," he's like, "You know what you have to give me," and
that's
he's
gonna be
like,
crazy.
"Yeah."
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
What do you
But
think?
yeah,
Do you feel like there should have been? And I'm not saying I want to drag it out by any means, but like I kind of feel like there should have been one more issue of the main story. Like we had all these tie-ins, right? And then I felt like where we got to, it just seemed like a big jump from issue 3 to issue 4, like story-wise. Like I felt like it's like, okay, issue 3 was like, hey, it was basically like everyone go out on your missions, right? And then issue 4 was
mhm,
like end game, like basically like here we go, and we got one more
yeah.
issue. I feel like they could have done another issue in between there and kind of fleshed out some of those stories a little bit more. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree. I just think there's so much, but because there's just so much going on. Because
Yeah.
now you're like, okay, so we're at issue 4 on regular Blood Hunt, and we still have like there's at least like maybe one or two more of the one shots, maybe one more one shot, and then you still have to finish up all these like 3 issue tie-ins, right?
Yeah,
Like
Wolverine has one, Spider-Man has another,
the Blood Hunters, you have Union Jack,
Blood
you have
Hunters, Union
yeah,
Jack,
like at this point you're like, oh, who cares,
Midnight
right? Like
Suns, yeah.
at some of them you're just like, I don't really care. Like the Blood Hunters is interesting, but like, okay, so Wolverine's kind of like, whatever. The Strange Academy, like that one, like that's what it is. Like that should have ended, and then it should have been like this issue.
Right. I
Like,
kind of
how
feel
do
like,
you
yeah.
still have like one more issue? Like, where is it gonna go? They're gonna meet up with Doctor Strange, like or Doctor Doom's gonna like find them and be like, oh, okay, well, I've already read this because I know what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I've enjoyed it, man, but yeah, I'm with you. I kinda I don't know how I feel about it right now.
We'll
I
see.
feel I mean, it's been good. It's been a good series
Mm,
for sure. So, and like Justin kind of mentioned, Absolute Power just started, and I know we talked kind of about doing that, but we only had the Absolute Power Ground Zero, and there was actually 2 tie-ins. I think there was the Green Arrow, and I think Flash is supposed to be like Road to Absolute Power, but we might wait, let that flesh out a little bit more before we start tackling that event.
yep.
But that was a good read, though. I did enjoy Absolute Power Ground Zero. Thought that was a good issue.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I liked it a
So
lot. The mini series you had the time, what's the name, like the time stopper. I can't even think of the guy's name,
yeah,
but
I,
it was
Time
really
Commander.
cool.
Time
Yeah,
Commander. Yeah,
how he was like dead and then he came back and Waller has his thing and she's like, well, now that you've had 5 days to fucking fuck around,
that was
like
crazy. Yeah,
no. And
yeah.
then I don't know, I forget who that character is at the end that shows up that kind of can come back to life. Shit, can't remember. But anyway, again, if you haven't read like Failsafe Batman and the House of Brainiac, it is a little bit of a tough. You're just like, oh, what am I doing? Like, why would I get invested in this miniseries that DC's putting out? So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to go. So as more issues come out on the absolute power, we'll definitely talk about it. So and Amanda Waller is just
Oh, she's great already. Yeah, she's great already.
she's great. So all right, so that is our comics. We did a lot of comics for
Yeah.
this
Sorry
episode.
for all those
No, listen, there
who
was
hate
just so much,
comics.
right? It's like
All those people.
so let's get into two quick articles before we get out of here. So I'll start off with our one article, which I feel like maybe this should be a good thing because someone will be taking over Spider-Man because it's been in the trash for recently. So this actually just got released on let's say Wednesday. Bleedingcool.com scoop Joe Kelly to take over Amazing Spider-Man from Zeb Wells. It seems that Joe Kelly will be taking over Amazing Spider-Man ongoing series from Marvel, posted in the Moon Knight #0 issue. So Joe Kelly has been rumored that he was going to be the new writer, and it is finally confirmed. So I don't know why this Moon Knight #0 was bagged, like polybagged, but yeah. Anyway, so coming out in a few issues, you have the relaunch of Joe Kelly, who's been, I guess the quintessential Deadpool creator. Let's call it that, right? Like
Yeah,
recreator
that's
almost.
if you want to get blocked on Instagram, that's what you say.
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry, Rob, but yeah, so Joe Kelly is going to be starting it, I guess in October, November. So listen, Zeb Wells has done an awful job. Hands down, it's probably been one of the worst reads of all of Amazing Spider-Man in quite a long time. Like one Stan Slott left, it was like, ugh. So for you people that maybe want to change, here we go. Zeb Wells out. Joe Kelly in. Joe Kelly definitely has a good track record of, characters, especially big name characters. So,
Mhm.
we'll see what happens with this. Mr. Zack, do you foresee that there's going to be a change, good, bad, indifferent?
Maybe I'll jump on. Maybe I'll jump on because and start reading some Spider-Man again. It's just hard. Like I said, I've never been a big Spider-Man guy, and Joe Kelly writes that quippy, fourth wall breaking Deadpool stuff. I mean, obviously, like we joke about it, but like the truth of the matter is, like, I'm not trying to take away from what Rob Liefeld created. He created Deadpool, right? But I think if you're being honest, if anyone's being honest, and if like, it is definitely the two of them. Like, he created Deadpool, but if you go back and read X-Force and you read the early Deadpool, that's not the Deadpool we have now. That's not the Deadpool in the movies. That's not the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. That's like, it's an amalgamation, a combination between the two of them. But Joe Kelly put in the fourth wall breaking. Joe Kelly put in the more of the zaniness and the humor and stuff. So, I don't know. That's not really my style. It's not really the things I like. And I kind of find Spider-Man to be a little too quippy anyway. Like, I'm like, enough with the jokes, dude. You're a loser. Like, get your life together. So, but you know what? It's not a bad opportunity to like jump on and be able to kind of talk about it more than just with vitriol and hate that I currently have for Spider-Man. So, yeah, I'll probably check it out. I think I'll do that. I think it's probably a good idea. Is it an all new #1? Sorry, I missed that.
Not right now. I mean, it's because his thing ends at 58. Doesn't say that it's a relaunch. It just says it's
Okay.
new. But who knows? 50 after 58 issues, it's always
You're
tough, I
getting
guess.
close to a round
75,
number,
God
right?
forbid. Yeah, God forbid you get to like
60.
75 or 100 and then end it, but no.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll check it out. I think, yeah, I'll do it. I'll read it. I'll do it for you guys, for the people.
And then what else we got? We got a TV, something over on the DC side. Finally, we really haven't talked too much on the TV or movie market, but
Yeah, you know, and I wanted to come back to let's talk about this, but then real quick, let's talk about Penguin. Um, also, because I meant to talk
yes,
about in the comics, because Penguin's ending soon. Did you read issue 11?
yeah,
Like this
Red 11.
King run seems really like
Mhm.
understated, and it's good.
Yeah, no, well, we've talked about it.
We've
I
talked
mean,
about
there's
it, but yeah,
definitely
I don't feel like many people are though.
yeah.
But yeah, no, the over at HBO Max is announced obviously the Green Lanterns television show coming out, or a TV series, or however you want to call it. And it's going to be like kind of what we already knew was coming out, right? It was going to be Green Lantern, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and John Stewart's going to be like the rookie, Hal Jordan's the veteran, and I think that's a good idea. I think you have too much history for Green Lantern that we don't have time to do Hal and then Kyle and then
Mhm.
Guy Gardner and all of them one by one, right? Like bring them in together. You can duel up. I think it's a good kind of buddy cop. I mean, look, Green Lanterns are cops anyway, right? Make it kind of a buddy cop situation. Hal's kind of a reckless fly by the seat of his pants guy, and John Stewart's like, the Marine,
Yeah.
by the book dude. So two of the best, arguably the best two Green Lanterns, right? So um I'm excited for that, man. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. So the DC Studios under chairman James Gunn, the series is given an 8-episode straight to series released by HBO with Chris Mundy, who did True Detective and Ozark, serving as
Nice.
showrunner and executive producer. Also on board is Damian Landolf, who did Watchmen and The Leftovers. Tom King as well. So that's
Hell
you
yeah.
know will also serve as executive producers and co-write Lantern. So listen, you got great people behind it.
Right.
So without a doubt, it's going to be good. And Green Lantern has had its ups and downs. The most recent Green Lantern series has gotten good praises in the past. I mean, anything that Jeff Johns did, obviously,
Hmm.
but in between there's been a lot of great things for the Green Lantern Corps and Hal and John Stewart and whoever else they bring in. So
What are
maybe
your
we'll just
thoughts?
see them. I doubt we'll see really like all the spectrums of light. Like
Yeah, I
sure,
hope not. Let's just focus on green for now, maybe yellow, like some
maybe,
stuff.
yeah, like a tease at the end, but maybe just keep it like you said, like a buddy cop thing. Like it's a cosmic thing. It doesn't need to bring in all these like Sinestro and like the Red Lanterns and the Blue Lanterns. Like it's just keep it for them too. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. Um,
Could be
like you
tough with like
said,
the visuals. What do you think about that? Because obviously Green Lantern's going to be very CGI heavy, right?
well, yeah, but it's on HBO, so
Yeah.
they're definitely going to be given the money for it. They're going to give it the budget for it. I mean, it's not like getting $180 million and looking terrible. Acolyte. Oh, sorry about that. Um, yeah, I mean, come on, like it's
Yeah,
got to
I
be
hope it. I
good.
hope it looks good. I hope it. I mean, because it's going to be. It's all visual, right? It's like all visual effects, like the cool
Yeah,
things they do with the rings and aliens and
constructs and
yeah.
I mean, it
So
can't look as bad as the Ryan Reynolds stuff. I mean, listen, Ryan
the
Reynolds, they
Ryan
look
Reynolds wasn't
good.
that bad,
No,
man.
no, I know. I said that, but
Yeah,
I still like can enjoy that movie for at least
for what it
something. It's
was,
not
right?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not the worst DC
it's
movie
not the
ever.
worst, dude. Look, Jonah Hex was made. Someone still made Jonah
Thank you.
Hex.
Yeah, thank you. On the tip of my tongue before you said it. So,
Yeah, someone
uh,
really saw that and was like, "We should make this movie."
yeah. Thank God Josh Brolin survived that
Yeah,
to be
thank God.
Thanos, right? Like,
Jeez. So thank God he was like, "Yeah, I'll do another comic book movie." Some people
yeah,
don't walk
right.
away from that stuff, dude. Like some are like, "No, never again." Like, what's her name? Thankfully, Madam Web's like, "I'll never do another comic book movie." Good, we don't want you.
Yeah, don't
So
need it. So other than that, this week we've also got the Batman Cape Crusader trailer drop. So I don't know if anyone has seen that. So the Matt Reeves Dark animated series is going to premiere not on HBO Max. It's going to be on Amazon Prime, which is very interesting. So
huh.
if you get a chance to see the trailer, it's very old school ish. It's a reimagining of Batman. Directors J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves and co-creator Bruce Timm are all collabing to do this. So it's absolutely cool as hell. It's very much like the 30s and 40s Batman, like his costume. You see Catwoman. I mean, Harley Quinn looks different. Firefly, Two-Face. There's just so many different characters in there. Very like those like early villains that are like nobodies that have just like a one thing. So trailer looked really good. Premieres August 1st. I'm excited to watch it because I haven't seen a good Batman thing in forever. I feel like I haven't really watched too much. And,
Mhm.
right now it's like, what are we watching? Like the only thing superhero is The Boys, which has been, I've enjoyed it this season. I know it's gotten like up and down, but whatever. Thursday, August 1st, 10 episode premiere on Prime Video. So check that out.
Cool. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up, puts us right there close to that hour mark. We don't want to turn into pumpkins, so we'll go ahead and call it for the evening. But thanks for everyone tuning in. Like we said earlier, keep an eye out on all of our Instagrams for information on where you can pre-order our TMNT exclusive, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game homage done by V. Ken Marion, ComiCom podcast exclusive, Terrificon exclusive. Let's take a look at that. If you didn't listen to last week's episode with Mitch Halleck and you don't know what Terrificon is, listen to that. What else, Justin? What you got coming up?
Speaking of V. Ken Marion, he will be at Undiscovered Realm Con this weekend up in White Plains, New York.
Yeah.
So if you're in the upstate New York area, Connecticut, upper New Jersey, it's not that far. It's like a 2-day show. And speaking of turtles too, there's like a ton of Ninja Turtles actors and actresses from like the old movie and like voice actors. So, if you're a fan of the original TMNT movie, go check that out. Like I think like the guys who were in the costume and then like Shredder and I think April, like a lot of people, like, and like I said, even like voice actors were there. So, hey, too bad we didn't have the book come out then. We could have had it signed at the show. But yeah, so Ken will be there this weekend. It's a 2-day show. I'm almost positive it's a 2-day show. I know it's at least Saturday, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 days. Other than that, next week we are scheduled to have a writer slash artist on to talk about a new series. So hopefully that pans out correctly. And yeah, we may drop next week's episode a little early because July 4th is on a Thursday. We'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
we're recording a little earlier in the week because of, holiday. But I guess that's it. That's all I got.
That's it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next week.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Hey, comic book collectors. Do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code COMICOM15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.